Hi everyone, it's Nicole for Simon Says Stamp, and today I'm sharing the STAMPtember 2025 limited edition exclusive for Honeybee stamps called Holiday Greetings. Today I am using the stamp set to create this one layer card that has tons of texture and it has that see-through look that I absolutely love with an acetate card base. We're going to start with the cling stamp here background. This is a gorgeous, beautiful background, and I am going to position this on my craft cardstock background and stamp this with a little Hero Arts intensified black ink, or you could use any of your favorite alcohol marker coloring ink pad, something that's not going to bleed. I am using a stamp positioner tool. This has a lot of black work, a lot of line work to this image. I want to make sure that I get a really good stamped image here. A stamp positioner is going to help you achieve this easily, as well as get that gorgeous detail that we want for this image. Next, I am going to be coloring in my image here with Olo markers. I have shown the caps here on the screen, but I will list each of the markers I'm using down in the description below for easy reference. If at any time you want to slow the video down in order to maybe watch the coloring, you can always click that gear on the screen and go back and watch the coloring portion in real time. Okay, so I am adding some reds and some grays to my cardinal. There are lots of birds in this card. It's absolutely incredible. It is so beautiful. We're going to go in now. I kind of tried to go color by color if possible, and I decided to go ahead and go in with my same red markers and hit any of these berries, the bow on the birdhouse, etc., before moving on to my next color. I want to talk a little bit about coloring in anything that is white on a craft cardstock base. I absolutely love the way images look colored on craft cardstock. This is the Neenah Desert Storm cardstock, and you can see that the colors look amazing. You are going to love the results. The only thing that might give you a little bit of pause, or you might think, oh my goodness, I want to stamp this on craft, but what's going to happen to the snow or anything else that might, be white, is anything that is going to be white. And my favorite two products to use in this instance are a white colored pencil or the Picket Fence Distress Pencil from Tim Holtz. I have done both during STAMPtember for different videos. In today's, I am going to use the colored pencil to color in right over top of the snow. And I find this is a great way to get that snowy white look on any kind of colored cardstock. Definitely, I tend to lean towards the craft cardstock for my cards. Also, I know these pine needles and branches are a lot of black work, but all I did was just kind of take my markers and go over those areas to give them that hint of green, because we definitely want to add as much color as possible to our card. To give a little bit of interest and difference and variegation, I suppose, to all of our greenery, I'm going to use a different color combination for a couple of the other branches and the leaves shown here. So this little branch and then these two leaves kind of down near the base of the birdhouse are both going to be a different green color, and just that subtle little bit of difference adds so much interest to our finished card. Now that we have our greenery done, I noticed I missed a couple of spots in my birdhouse, so I'm just going to go in, fill that in, get my little berries, and then we're going to start working on the rest of the birds. There are actually 5 birds featured in this beautiful image, and I forgot to mention this is an A2 panel, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. This bird is going to have some nice shades of brown, but it's a different color combination than the birdhouse itself, the wood on the birdhouse. But I don't want to focus too much on brown, so we're going to give the rest of our birds quite a bit of color. So we've got some blues, we're going to use some yellow oranges, and then of course the red of the cardinal up above. Anytime I'm doing a one-layer card, I love to find ways to add lots of interest. So we will be doing that with some stenciling. We're going to do that with some glitter, and then of course our acetate see-through window. Here's my white pencil that I'm just going to go in and make sure that I get great coverage all over this snow sitting atop our birdhouse. And it is a pretty big surface area. I also recommend getting the Prismacolor pencil sharpener. I love having and coloring with sharp pencils, and I find that I use it all the time. I sharpened my pencil before I started coloring in the snow. Now, once we have that, I am going to go in for my bird's eyes and take a black jelly roll pen and add detail to those eyes. And when the black jelly roll is dry, I'll take a white pen and add those highlights back in. To start with the rest of the snowy background texture, I'm going to take a sponge applicator of some sort and some Simon Says Stamp white pigment ink, and we are gently going to pounce this around the edges of our panel to give it that snowy little vignette, almost like you're looking through a frosted pane of glass to the outside, and it's got that wonderful snowy look. I don't want to go too far in because of course we don't want to completely cover up all of our beautiful coloring. Then I want it to look like there's falling snow all over my image, and I am going to take my very favorite white opaque grit paste from Tim Holtz and a palette knife, and we are going to do a very thin application of this grit paste. Not only do I want the grit paste to not stand up really high, because this actually is going to be on the inside of this particular card underneath the front acetate panel of our card, but I also want it to dry quickly. So I am going to make sure that I am scraping a lot of this off. I love using a palette knife with a pointier tip so that you can really just get that paste exactly where you want it to go. For example, I didn't want some of those big snowy drops right over the top of my cardinal, and so I tried to kind of avoid him just a little bit. Okay, look at that beautiful snowy texture. We're going to set that aside to dry, and now I have a top fold acetate card base from Simon Says Stamp. Using the Merry Christmas and From Our Family to Yours, we are going to stamp with cotton white Stazon ink right on the acetate cover. I did have to re-ink my stamp pad, so I do stamp it off on a scrap piece of paper, or actually my foam adhesive sheet, to kind of get a little bit of that extra ink off of my card. And then I just checked it inside of my panel to make sure that I liked how it looked. I love white stamping on an acetate window, or in this case, an acetate card panel. I think it looks so elegant and beautiful. Finally, we are going to go in with some glossy accents, and we are going to add some sugared berries to our scene, and also add some shimmer and shine to the snow on top of the birdhouse. So I'm adding little bits of glossy accents. Again, I don't want this to be a super thick application. I want this to dry pretty quickly, and I don't want it to be super puffy. And I did it kind of along the bottom, but I think we need to do kind of around all of the edges. I didn't necessarily want to cover up the entire area of the birdhouse roof. Then I'm going to take the Rock Candy glitter from Tim Holtz. This is that special edition glitter. You're going to use it all season long for all of the holidays. It's so beautiful. And we are going to add that beautiful, beautiful glittery snow and sugared berries to our scene. I'll tap off the excess and funnel it back into my jar, and look how beautiful that looks. Now again, I want to let that completely dry before I put it inside of my card. Because we're gluing this to the inside of the card, and that means that you're going to see your alcohol ink coloring and any of that glue, I am going to put another panel on the back of my acetate card, and then I'm going to glue my panel inside the card and add a sprinkling of these super fun clay snowflakes all over the front of my card window. Again, anytime you're creating a one-layer card, if there is a way to add texture, I love to do that. So these just add again to that snowy feel. They add a fun little decorative snowflake touch that ties in beautifully to everything else going on in this card. Oh my gosh, I just love the elegance of this design. It is absolutely stunning, and you are going to love coloring this in no matter what coloring medium you use. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for the STAMPtember 2025 limited edition exclusive from Honeybee Stamps called Holiday Greetings. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube for your convenience. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at SimonsSaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.